Hey, hello, player.
Hey, hello YouTube players.
Tools. Create sheet, create a new spreadsheet. Import a CSV file into a spreadsheet. Export a CSV file from a spreadsheet. Merge cells, merge selected cells. Split cell, split previously merged cells. Align left, align the contents of selected cells to the left. Align center, align the contents of selected cells to the center horizontally. Align right, align the contents of selected cells to the right. Align top, align the contents of selected cells to the top. Align vertical center, align the contents of selected cells to the center vertically. Align bottom, top align the contents of selected cells to the bottom. Style bold, set the contents of selected cells to bold. Style italic, set the contents of selected cells to italic. Style underline, set the contents of selected cells to underlined. Set alias, set the alias for a selected cell. Black and white, set the foreground and the background colors of selected cells. Preferences. Preferences, the preferences for the spreadsheet workbench. Introduced in version 0.20. Insert and remove rows and columns. Rows and columns can be inserted or removed by right-clicking a row or column header and selecting the appropriate option from the context menu. It is possible to select multiple rows or columns first, either by holding down the Control key while selecting the headers, or by holding down the left mouse button and dragging. In FreeCAD version 0.19 and earlier, rows are inserted above the selected rows, and columns on the left of the selected columns. In FreeCAD version 0.20 you can specify the insertion side. Note that removing rows or columns with data can break the spreadsheet and your model if it relies on the spreadsheet. You are not pre-warned if this happens. Cut and copy-paste cells. Cut and copy-paste operations can be used on cells in FreeCAD spreadsheets. You can use the normal shortcuts for these operations, Ctrl+X, Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V respectively. To select multiple cells, hold down the Control key while selecting, or hold down the left mouse button and drag to select a rectangular cell range. The cut and copy operations store the contents and properties of the cells on the clipboard. The paste operation writes the data in such a way that the content of the top left cell of the stored data is dropped in the active cell. Other stored content is placed relative to that cell. Formulas are updated accordingly. Note that removing cells with data can break the spreadsheet and your model if it relies on the spreadsheet. You are not pre-warned if this happens. In FreeCAD version 0.19 and earlier, there is a bug that can cause FreeCAD to hang if a non-rectangular cell range is pasted. It is advisable to save your work before performing any paste operations. Cell properties. The properties of a spreadsheet cell can be edited with a right-click on a cell. The following dialog pops up. As indicated by the tabs, the following properties can be changed. Color, text color and background color. Alignment, text horizontal and vertical alignment. Style, text style, bold, italic, underline. Units, display units for this cell. Please read the unit section below. Alias, define an alias for this cell. This alias can be used in cell formulas and also in general expressions. See section Spreadsheet Data in Expressions for more information. Cell expressions. A spreadsheet cell may contain arbitrary text or an expression. Technically, expressions must start with an == sign. However, the spreadsheet attempts to be intelligent. If you enter what looks like an expression without the leading equal sign, one will be added automatically. Cell expressions may contain numbers, functions, references to other cells, and references to properties of the model, but see current limitations below. Cells are referenced by their column, capital letter, and row number. A cell may also be referenced by its alias name, below. Example, B4 plus A6. Note, cell expressions are treated by FreeCAD as programming code. Therefore, when you edit a cell, the content you see that it is not following your display settings. The decimal separator is always a dot. The number of displayed decimals can differ from your preferences settings. References to objects in the model are explained under References to CAD data below. Using spreadsheet cell values to define model properties are explained under Spreadsheet data in expressions below. For more information on expressions and the available functions, see expressions. Interaction between spreadsheets and the CAD model. Data in the cells of a spreadsheet may be used in CAD model parameter expressions. Thus, a spreadsheet may be used as the source for parameter values used throughout a model, effectively gathering the values in one place. When values are changed in the spreadsheet, they are propagated throughout the model. Similarly, properties from CAD model objects may be used in expressions in spreadsheet cells. This allows use of object properties like volume or area in the spreadsheet. If the name of an object in the CAD model is changed, the change will automatically be propagated to any references in spreadsheet expressions using the name which was changed. More than one spreadsheet may be used in a document. A spreadsheet can be identified using either its name or its label. FreeCAD will automatically assign a unique name to a spreadsheet when it is created. These names follow the pattern spreadsheet, spreadsheet 001, spreadsheet 002 and so on. The name cannot be changed manually, and it is not visible in the properties of the spreadsheet. It can be used to refer to the spreadsheet in an expression, see spreadsheet data in expressions below. The label of a spreadsheet is automatically set to the name of the spreadsheet upon creation. Unlike the name, the label can be changed, for example in the Properties panel or using the context menu action Rename. Note that the label of a spreadsheet within a document has to be unique. If you try to change the label to a label already used by another spreadsheet, FreeCAD will not accept the new label. FreeCAD checks for cyclic dependencies. See current limitations. References to CAD data. As indicated above, one can reference data from the CAD model in spreadsheet expressions. Computed expressions in spreadsheet cells start with an equals, equal sign, sign. However, the spreadsheet entry mechanism attempts to be smart. An expression may be entered without the leading equal sign. If the string entered is a valid expression, an equal sign is automatically added when the final enter is typed. If the string entered is not a valid expression, often the result of entering something with the wrong case, e.g. mycube.length instead of mycube.length, no leading equal sign is added and it is treated as simply a text string. Note, the above behavior, auto-insert of equal sign, has some unpleasant ramifications. If you want to keep a column of names corresponding to the alias names in an adjacent column of values, you must enter the name in the label column before giving the cell in the value column its alias name. Otherwise, when you enter the alias name in the label column, the spreadsheet will assume it is an expression and change it to equals alias name, and the displayed text will be the value from the alias name cell. If you make an error when entering the name in the label column and wish to correct it, you cannot simply change it to the alias name. Instead, you must first change the alias name to something else, then fix the text name in the label column, then change the alias name in the value column back to its original. One way to sidestep these issues is to prefix text labels corresponding to alias names with a fixed string, thereby making them different. Note that underscore will not work, as it is converted to equal sign. However, a blank, while invisible, will work. The following table shows some examples assuming the model has a feature named mycube. CAD data. Cell in spreadsheet. Result. Parametric length of a part workbench cube. Equals mycube length. Length with units millimeter. Volume of the cube. Equals mycube shape volume. Volume in millimeter cubed without units. Type of the cube shape. Equals myCube, shape.shapeType. String, solid. Label of the cube. Equals myCube, label. String, myCube. X-coordinate of center of mass of the cube. Equals myCube, shape.centerofmass.x. X-coordinate in millimeter without units. Spreadsheet data in expressions. In order to use spreadsheet data in other parts of FreeCAD, you will usually create an expression that refers to the spreadsheet and the cell that contains the data you want to use. You can identify spreadsheets by name or by label, and you can identify the cells by position or by alias. Auto-completion is available for all forms of referencing. Spreadsheet by name. Spreadsheet by label. Cell by position. Equals spreadsheet 042.b5. Equals myspreadsheet.b5. Cell by alias. Equals spreadsheet 042.myalias. Equals myspreadsheet.myalias. Expand. The recommended way to refer to spreadsheet data is to use the spreadsheet label and cell alias name. For a more in-depth explanation of the pros and cons of the addressing modes, see the expanded section below. Complex models and recomputes. Editing a spreadsheet will trigger a recompute of the 3D model, even if the changes do not affect the model. For a complex model, a recompute can take a long time, and having to wait after every single edit is of course quite annoying. There are 3 solutions to deal with this. Temporarily skip recomputes. In the tree view, right-click the document that contains the spreadsheet. Select the Skip Recomputes option from the context menu. There is a big disadvantage to this solution. New values entered in the spreadsheet will not be displayed until the document is recomputed. Instead, hash pending is shown. You can either recompute manually, using the std refresh command, or disable skip recomputes when you are done editing. Use a macro to automatically skip recomputes while editing a spreadsheet. Download and run skipsheet.fc macro. This solution saves a few steps compared to the first solution, but also has the mentioned disadvantage. Put the spreadsheet in a separate FreeCAD file. You can reference spreadsheet data from an external .fcstd file with this syntax, equals name of file hash myspreadsheet.myalias. The advantage of having the spreadsheet in another file over switching off recomputes is that the spreadsheet itself does get recomputed. The disadvantage is that the model won't automatically recompute after changes to the spreadsheet. In the scenario where you first open the spreadsheet file, change one or more values and then open the model file, there won't be any indication that the model needs to be recomputed. But if both files are open, the std refresh icon will update correctly for the model file after changes to the spreadsheet file. Units. The spreadsheet has a notion of dimension, units, associated with cell values. A number entered without an associated unit has no dimension. The unit should be entered immediately following the number value, with no intervening space. If a number has an associated unit, that unit will be used in all calculations. For example, the multiplication of 2 lengths with the unit millimeter gives an area with the unit millimeter squared. If a cell contains a value which represents a dimension, it should be entered with its associated unit. While in many simple cases one can get by with a dimensionless value, it is unwise to not enter the unit. If a value representing a dimension is entered without its associated unit, there are some sequences of operations which cause FreeCAD to complain of incompatible units in an expression when it appears the expression should be valid. This may be better understood by viewing this thread in the FreeCAD forums. You can change the units displayed for a cell value using the Properties dialog Units tab, above. This does not change the value contained in the cell, it only converts the existing value for display. The value used for calculations does not change, and the results of formulas using the value do not change. For example, a cell containing the value 5.08 centimeters can be displayed as 2 inches by changing the units tab value to in. A dimensionless number cannot be changed to a number with a unit by the cell properties dialog. One can put in a unit string, and that string will be displayed, but the cell still contains a dimensionless number. In order to change a dimensionless value to a value with a dimension, the value itself must be re-entered with its associated unit. Occasionally it may be desirable to get rid of a dimension in an expression. This can be done by multiplying by 1 with a reciprocal unit. Importing and exporting. CSV format. FreeCAD spreadsheets can be imported and exported to the CSV format, which can also be read and written by most other spreadsheet applications such as Microsoft Excel or LibreOffice Calc. See Spreadsheet Import and Spreadsheet Export for more information. Xlsx format. Spreadsheets in the Excel format Xlsx can be imported with the std import command or the std open command. The following features are supported. All functions that are also available in the FreeCAD spreadsheet. Other functions give an error in the corresponding cell after import. Alias names for cells. More than one sheet in the Excel spreadsheet. In this case, one FreeCAD spreadsheet is created for each Excel sheet. Other functionality is not imported into the FreeCAD spreadsheet. Printing. To handle the page setup necessary for printing, FreeCAD spreadsheets are printed by inserting them into a TechDraw spreadsheet view. Current limitations. FreeCAD checks for cyclic dependencies. By design, that check stops at the level of the spreadsheet object. As a consequence, you should not have a spreadsheet which contains both cells whose values are used to specify parameters to the model, and cells whose values use output from the model. For example, you cannot have cells specifying the length, width, and height of an object, and another cell which references the total volume of the resulting shape. This restriction can be surmounted by having two spreadsheets, one used as a data source for input parameters to the model and the other used for calculations based on resultant geometry data. Scripting basics. Import spreadsheet sheet equals app.activeDocument.add object, spreadsheet, sheet, my spreadsheet, sheet label equals dimensions sheet.set, A1, 10 mm, sheet.recompute, sheet.get, A1, sheet.set alias, B1, diameter, sheet.set, diameter, 20 mm, sheet.recompute, sheet.get, diameter,